Okay, let's be honest. You've seen the hype, you've seen the posts, and it is getting exhausting. With Grok 4.2, we've somehow gone from a promise of coming in 3 to 4 weeks to, of all things, delays being blamed on the weather. So in this explainer, we're cutting right through all that noise to give you the real picture of what is going on. We're going to break down the actual timeline, the features we can confirm, the biggest rumors, and whether it can really, truly compete with the top models out there right now. Right, let's just dive straight into the slide because it perfectly captures the frustration, doesn't it? On the one hand, you had the initial promise, a super clear, sunny forecast for a new release. And on the other, you have the reality, this storm of delays and some seriously bizarre excuses. It's exactly this disconnect that made us say, okay, we have to put together a real explainer on this. And here it is. This is the official reason we were given. I'm not kidding. Extreme cold weather was actually cited as the cause for power disruptions to the training clusters, pushing back the entire release schedule. This basically took the project from what felt like warp speed to a dead stop, and it was all officially blamed on a cold front. Wow. So to really understand what's happening right now, you have to look at the timeline, because it tells this incredible story of a project moving at light speed that then just slams into a wall. I mean, xAI's initial pace was nothing short of breathtaking. Just look at this progression. The company is founded in early 2023, and by July of 2025, they've launched the super impressive Grok 4, which had multi-agent reasoning. That's basically letting multiple AIs team up to solve a problem. Just a few months later, boom, Grok 4.1 arrives, focusing more on usability. Then came that promise in December for 4.2, which was followed by the stall in January, pushing everything to this new mid-February window that we're all watching so closely now. And, that 4.1 update was a really big deal. It wasn't just some minor patch. In blind A/B tests, people actually preferred it over the original Grok 4 by a margin of almost 2 to 1. And what's really interesting about that is it shows this clear pivot they made towards making the model more practical and more creative, not just powerful on a spec sheet. All right, let's cut through all the speculation for a minute and just focus on the hard facts. This is the dossier. This is everything we can confirm about the specifications and the capabilities we should expect based on what's already out there and what's been officially announced. First things first, the foundation that they're building on here is already incredibly strong. The current version, Grok 4.1, it already shot up to the #1 spot on the super respected LM Arena leaderboard. And that's a platform where real users blindly vote on which AI model gives the best answers. It hit a massive score of 1483. So the expectation is that Grok 4.2 is going to be a pretty significant jump over even that. So this slide here, this lays out the core toolkit. We're looking at a huge 256,000 token context window, which in simple terms just means it can process and remember a massive amount of information all at once. It's fully multimodal, so it gets text, vision, and it has a voice mode that actually sees through your camera, and of course, the killer feature, that live data integration with both the web and with X. For version 4.2, they're aiming to sharpen all of this with a laser focus on coding, reasoning, and creative writing. Now, this is a detail that is so underrated, but it is hugely important. The Grok 4 Fast architecture, which came out back in September 2025, somehow managed to slash operational costs by an incredible 98%. It's almost a sure bet that 4.2 will inherit these efficiency gains. And for anyone out there who's planning to use this through the API, that could mean way, way lower costs for building your own apps on top of Grok. Okay, so we've covered the facts. Now let's pivot to the biggest, and honestly the most exciting unverified rumor that's floating around. Now I have to stress this. Take this with a healthy dose of skepticism. But if there's even a little bit of truth to it, well, it's a total game changer. And that really is the central question here. Is it possible for an AI model to take a pile of cash and actively beat human traders and other models in a live market? Well, the rumor is that Grok 4.2 was put through that exact test. So according to the whispers, the model was handed a starting pot of $10,000. The competition was called the Alpha Arena, a really straightforward, put your money where your mouth is kind of challenge. And after just 10 days, the model had reportedly turned that initial investment into $11,060. Now that is not a small gain in such a short amount of time. And to put that into perspective for you, we are talking about a 10 to 12% return in less than 2 weeks. And it allegedly outperformed its main rival, GPT-4o, in an open trading challenge. Again, it is a rumor, but it definitely points towards some seriously powerful real-world analytical reasoning capabilities. So when this model finally drops, Forget the benchmarks for a second. Leaderboard scores are one thing, but how it performs in the real world, that's what actually matters. So we've gone ahead and put together our official AI verdict demo checklist for day one. So here's the plan. First, we are going to test that LiveX integration. Can it actually tell us what's trending at this very moment? Next, we're skipping the simple stuff. We are throwing real, broken Python code at it to see how it handles it. Then, we're going to take that vision and voice mode out into the real world for some actual practical tests. And finally, we'll be looking for any improvements to its video generation feature, Grok Imagine, which XAI has confirmed they have a dedicated team working on. So, with all that said, who is this model really for? Let's break down the final analysis. What are the best use cases? What are the biggest drawbacks? And how does it really stack up against the competition? Well, the ideal user seems pretty clear. If your work involves anything like social media monitoring, trend analysis, or any kind of coding that needs live, up-to-the-minute web data to work, well then Grok 4.2 should probably be at the very top of your list to check out. And this is a big but, there are significant limitations. It's closed source, and it's locked behind a subscription. And a really big one, especially for professional use, its content filtering has historically been, well, let's say permissive. Grok 4.1 reportedly had no filters on X posts. For any corporate or client-facing application, that's a huge risk, because it could expose your users to some really inappropriate or brand-damaging content. All right, it is time for the final showdown. How does Grok 4.2 actually fit into the current AI landscape? Where does it win, and where do its rivals still have the edge? Okay, here's the honest breakdown as we see it. GPT-4o is still the absolute king of user experience and integrations. Claude 3 is the top choice if you need safety or need to analyze really long documents. Llama 3 is the open source champion for anyone who needs local control. So, where does that leave Grok? Well, its undisputed edge is something no one else has. And this right here? This gets to the absolute heart of its unique selling proposition. That live, real-time social signal access, the ability to tap directly into the live pulse of X, into the global conversation as it's happening, is a massively powerful and totally unique advantage for pretty much everything from financial analysis to marketing. So it looks like a mid-February launch is probably realistic. But the real test isn't going to be some leaked leaderboard score. It's going to be whether those live integrations actually hold up in day-to-day use. We're going to be reviewing it the second it goes live, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell to see our breakdown. And let us know in the comments, are you still waiting for 4.2, or have you already moved on to something else?